What's up, guys? This is Coach Grant with First Down Training, and today we're going to be talking about the average height for wide receivers based on your age. So we're going to be going through all ages 9 all the way up till 16, 17 in high school, and then we're going to be talking about some things that you can improve on as a wide receiver if you're on the shorter side of things and don't live up to these averages. Now, fellas, is height the most important thing at the receiver position? No, but at the same time, like, height is important at any position in football, because there is something called the eye test, and that's like, from a recruiting lens. Whether it's a high school coach interested in a youth athlete, whether it's a college coach interested in a high school athlete, you need to try to pass the eye test, if you will, in terms of height. You want a coach to look at you and say, hey, that looks like a college level football player, a high school level football player. Now, height is one of those things that you can't control, right? Height is one of those things that's purely genetic. It's not like your weight, it's not like your speed where maybe you can train for it. So we're going to list out these averages based on all of the athletes that we work with every single year. We work with probably close to 2,000 athletes every single year with the amount of camps that we do and training that we do here in Southern California. So this is generally what we see. But like I said, at the very end, we'll talk about some areas that you can improve on if you don't live up to these averages, because honestly, it's not the end of the world if you're not at this specific number. So we're going to start out with ages 9 through 13, and then we'll get to the high school aged athletes. Now, the one thing I want you to understand is for ages 9 to probably like 12, 13, a lot of you probably haven't hit puberty yet. You probably haven't hit a growth spurt yet. So it's not the end of the world if you're not at these numbers, but there are areas that you need to improve on. So for ages 9, I'd probably say like 4'11" is probably an average height for a 9-year-old wide receiver. Again, wide receiver, if you're a little bit shorter than these, like averages, if you will, you're probably better off in the slot. So maybe if you're like 4'9", you're probably a slot receiver. 4'11" or above, you're probably an outside wide receiver. So for age 10, I'd probably say like 5'1" is a good height. Age 11, I'm probably going to say like 5'3". Age 12, probably like 5'5". And then age 13, I'd probably say like 5'7". So that's generally where you want to be in terms of like averages for a receiver at that age. Now, we're going to get into some high school ages and high school heights for the different ages in high school, so 14, 15, 16 and above. But before we do that, you guys, if you're a wide receiver watching this video and you would like to train with myself and my staff of coaches this offseason, we're going to be traveling out to 15 different cities across the entire U.S. for 2-day-long QB and wide receiver training camps. So guys, if you go to that very first link in the description below, that is where you can sign up. Our next camp is going to be in San Francisco, California. Then we'll be heading out to Orlando, Florida, Phoenix, Arizona, Columbia, South Carolina, Seattle, Washington, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, Nashville, Tennessee, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Austin, Texas, Atlanta, Georgia, Denver, Colorado. Then after Denver, we'll be coming out to Columbus, Ohio, Boston, Massachusetts, Salt Lake City, Utah, and finishing it off in Los Angeles, California. So guys, local to any one of those cities, you want to train with myself and my staff, go to that very first link in the description below. That's where you can sign up. All of our camps, guys, will sell out probably 3 to 4 months in advance. That's why we're telling you about this now. We're telling you about this very, very early so you guys can get a chance to sign up before spots are filled up. So guys, very first link in that description below. Let's get back to some heights and for the different ages. So like I said, after we get through age 16, we'll talk about some things that you guys can do to improve your game if you are undersized to be able to stand out to a coach. Now, if you're 14 years old, I would say probably the average height for like a freshman wide receiver is going to be like 5'9". If you're like 5'9", maybe a little bit taller than that, 5'10", 5'11", you're probably going to be an outside wide receiver. You're like 5'6", you're 5'7", you're probably going to be better off in the slot, right? Because slot receivers are generally the shorter guys and the quicker guys on the field. Now, for 15, I'd probably say like anywhere from like 5'10" to 5'11" is probably a good gauge. And then for 16 and above, a varsity level wide receiver, generally if you're on the outside, it's probably 6 foot or above. I see a lot of times receivers that I work with that are maybe like 5'8", and they'll tell me like, hey coach, my coach has got me on the outside. I'm either the tallest receiver we have or he's just putting me on the outside, or I alternate with both. If you're below 6 foot, especially at a collegiate level, you're going to be out of the slot. Like some of these college level wide receivers who are on the outside are 6'2", 6'3", 6'4". Now that's above average. I would say average is about like 6 foot to 6'1", especially when you're at that like varsity level high school ball. So that's generally what I would say, guys, are the average heights for receivers based on age. Now, if you're not there, let's say you're, a 12-year-old receiver and you're 5'2". Let's say you're a varsity wide receiver and you're 5'7". What are areas that you can improve on to still be able to compete with those taller guys, with those guys who have a little bit more physical traits than you do? Number one is going to be your speed. If you're a short receiver, it is a very tough sell if you're short and slow. Like that's very, very hard. Like if I got a guy and he's short and slow, like my first thought isn't, okay, let's put him at receiver. Like if he's short but he's really fast, he's got good quick twitch, he's got explosiveness, this, I'm thinking, okay, he could probably play out of the slot. So you need to make sure that you're working on your speed. Number two, the worry is that if you're undersized, you taking hits, you're not going to be able to hang on to the ball. So you need to have good hands. So I would say speed, hands, and then the last one I think is obvious. It's the attention to detail, which means route running. Route running is all about details, you guys. Being able to sell vertical on your routes, running with long strides, good body language, good speed, being able to cut on a dime, drop your hips correctly, different moves at the top of the route. All that is detail work. And anytime that you're a short guy trying to compete with a bigger guy, he's got the physical traits. It's going to be easier for him. You have to work 2 times as hard on him, 2 times harder than he does, but the key is to work on the details. Emphasize the little things in terms of route running, your press releases, because that will get you separation, and coaches love that attention to detail. So if you focus on those 3 things, I don't think it's a huge deal that you're undersized.